$25 billion foreign direct investments boosts Nigeria's economy after recession, says federal government. Internally generated revenue hits 691.11 billion naira in the second quarter of 2019. Oil pipeline vandalism hits record high in July. Plus, unlocking Nigeria's agriculture potential will be the focus of this edition of the program. Details of this and more on Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, the nation's capital, on the network service of the NTA. I am Benny Adams. The National Bureau of Statistics says 36 states and FCT internally generated revenue hits 691.11 billion naira in the second quarter of 2019. The figure released by the Bureau indicates that the figure generated is higher than 596.91 billion naira recorded in 2018. This indicates a positive growth of 15.78%. Nigeria is gunning for a larger share of $11.5 trillion Global Digital Economy Fund, and investors, especially ICT investors, will be highly needed in this pursuit. Minister of Communication, Dr. Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, said this in an African Investment Forum of 39th Gulf Information Technology Exhibition, GITEX, in Dubai, United Arab Emirates.
Potential investor who fails to invest in Nigeria will definitely regret sooner or later. Look at our contribution to GDP. The contribution of ICT to GDP is 13.86%.
Meanwhile, Nigeria's success in the GITEC Future Awards with indigenous startup Chiniki Gad has attracted global accolades, with the software set to take the world by storm, as the tech innovation won first prize in the artificial intelligence category.
750 startups all over the world, and so out of the finalists I was lucky enough to be the winner. And I look around and I find out that inventory, there's virtually lots of inventory solutions out there, and I wasn't ready to even compete there. And then I chose the hardest part, which is theft, which virtually nobody is working. I mean, even in the US, nobody is working there.
The recently concluded Nigerian Economic Summit has again lived up to its expectations, with experts providing solutions to many economic and financial challenges. Here are some responses on trade and export promotion, with specific focus on areas of domestic trade corridors, trade facilitations, and that of e-commerce.
I think the first thing is that if we're talking about e-commerce, we must realize something, that our MSMEs must be prepared. So when I talk about preparation, it's all about scale. So you can sell 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of this jacket. By the time you're getting onto e-commerce and you're selling to the world, you now have an inventory fulfillment issue. What that means is that you're telling the whole world that if they order 5,000 pieces of this in 10 different colors, you can supply the quantity with the same quality across board. So we need to build the skills of the entrepreneurs so that they're able to scale. And it's not just an e-commerce readiness program that we're talking about. So it's not just talking about the digits from the payment perspective and all that, but also from the operations as well. Do they even have the funds to produce such a large scale? Because typically it might not come before time. So there's many things that they have to take into consideration. Then another one is standards. Then most importantly is a payment platform, right?
One of them is the issue of infrastructure. And we realize that the government is taking a good initiative in creating the other 7 signed by the president that allows tax incentive for investors to also help infrastructure development, like the road project. We also realize that the enhancement of and the effective commodity exchange market in the country will help in enhancing the trading activities of small scale and medium scale enterprise. We also realize that the utilization and effective use of information technology will go a long way to help in enhancing trading.
To discuss further on unlocking Nigeria's agriculture potential is the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Agriculture, Andrew Kwasari. Mr. Andrew, you're welcome on Business Express.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Well, we're talking about unlocking this great potential agriculture, which is partly the mainstay of Nigeria's economy.
Let's go.
Federal government efforts has been on food security. There's been so much investment to get good yield, but we still have post-harvest issues. We still have a lot of challenges. We still have issues of good yield to contend with. How can we unlock this agriculture potential that this country is blessed with?
Thank you very much, Benny. And I will start by adding to your list. We also have issues with linkage to the market. We have issues with access to finance.
Most definitely.
In one way. So
access to finance is actually key.
Yes, but what is most important is to understand what is our agriculture like. So about 80% of these agricultural practices today is in the hands of the smallholder farmers.
Yes.
So I would like to tell you my own thoughts on how Nigeria can move from this story of potential to reality.
To reality. It is actually a dream that we're looking to see into reality.
To unbundle the potentials, converting it into reality where we can use agriculture as that tool to arrive at the desired growth that is also inclusive, that also creates jobs, and then sustainably. And here is it. So the whole of the agricultural discussion in the last 4 years I've been working for government, and I've had all of the solutions. So today what Nigeria really needs is organization. All the building blocks are in the room. Everybody knows what needs to happen. How it happens anyway is very important. And that is where I come with the issue of these building blocks to unlock this potential that you just mentioned in your opening statement, is using these blocks that have been numbered from 1 to say 20 or 30, that the right block one comes before 2, or 1 is laid before 2. This is very important. So reorganizing the agricultural system, and in the movement.
How do we do this reorganizing to move from the smallholder farmer to bigger investment?
No, we don't really need to move from smallholder farmer to larger investment. I am not supporting the theory of transiting the smallholder farmers to some large-scale farmers. But that does not determine what prosperity can be created with using agriculture. Prosperity is all about return on the investment, how much profit. So a smallholder farmer can be as profitable as a commercial farmer or even more. So, but this is it. So I will try to put a word that we can build around, or a sentence. I think what Nigeria must focus on now, and which government is focusing on, is that how do we invest in supply chain? And mark my word, investing in supply chain. Some people call it financing value chain, but I call it invest in supply chain. When you invest in supply chain, you need to, I'm going to give you about 3 blocks that are needed. First is the primary producers. Nigeria needs to build and must build a verifiable data of all of these 80% and counting contributions to agriculture that are smallholders. And that data is what I call agricultural asset data. It then starts by who is a smallholder farmer? Where is he located? What is the size of his land? What is the value, what is the commodity he produces? What is the historic yield he has in the last 2, 3, or 5 years better? Once we can get this data secured, what local government, state level, I am imagining that we end up with about 100 million of these individuals, plus the productive asset that is also in this ecosystem of the smallholder farmer. Is there a road, or do we need to build road there? Is there a market? Is there a storage facility? Is there is it covered with internet accessibility, or at least are the people using mobile? All of this. Then we move to one segment. So this
after getting
this data, let me tell you what this data does.
Okay.
So this data positions Nigeria to move to the next step. The next building block is strategic targeting.
Of this same small farm.
Yes. So if we say we need to move their productivity of, say, rice from any commodity, this baseline data tells us today the average, let's say, is 3 tons per hectare. We want to hit 9, 10 in X number of years. Then we know who we are targeting and what specific technologies we need to target them with.
Sorry to cut you. I thought that actually led to the success that is being recorded in the Ankobora program of today.
I am telling you that your question is not that is Nigeria achieving some successes. That would have been a different. What I'm saying is that I want to discuss with you that how do we unlock the potential so that it delivers that dividends of all-inclusive, large-scale, wide economic
return
growth.
on investment.
Yes, that growth, that wealth creation where people are included and is sustainable for the percentage that makes sense to our size. So let us keep where the successes are happening here and there. There are many successes. But let us really say that what do we need to do again to
consolidate on that.
To really scale it up.
Okay.
So this data allows us to target for right kind of technology, whether it is good agronomic practices and the underlying technologies, access to inputs, demand-driven inputs, high-quality yielding seeds that farmers will need, access to credit. We'll be able to say that for onion producers in Mongono, they are X in number, they need this type of, and they can produce this number of
over a period of time.
Yield. Then I will quickly bring in the second block that I wanted to move in, which is then all of the guys that play in the logistics or value addition, from logistics to manufacturing or aggregation. Once we can increase the efficiency or increase the yield per square meter of land and do it efficiently, cut down the cost of production by proper targeting, whether with technologies or with financing or with inputs as at when due. I'm building this house with the understanding that Nigeria agriculture is rain-fed. So all of our productivity, over 90%, is from when we have rain and when the rain ceases. So everything therefore, time is important. When the farmer cultivates his farm, when the farmer has access to machines to plow his farm, when he has access to the right seed, when he has access to the right kind of fertilizer, when he has access to the market. So this manufacturing. So when we invest in supply chain,
where's the place of technology in all of this?
In all of this, so you have appropriate technology that will be for productivity enhancement, but you still need this data to be able to deal that you are targeting these people. What type of technology? Is it irrigation? Is it mechanization? Is it haulage or all of it? You need to know who you are targeting. Then quickly you move it to the second block, which is therefore who are the people that begin to play in the value chain, whether as logistics operators, aggregators, or manufacturers. But I want to remain with manufacturers. What the data of knowing and increasing yield of our primary producers does is that with clarity you can link them up to the manufacturer. So we start the manufacturing or the industrialization starting from agriculture, because you can channel outputs, you can channel raw material from the smallholder farmers. What investing in supply chain does is that it captures at least 90% of the output of all of these smallholder farmers towards a value addition, someone that manufactures.
Is that happening now?
It's happening. It's happening at certain scale. We need it to happen big, and to happen big, we need to mine the data that is verifiable and can allow targeting. For instance, if you have a guy that makes biscuits somewhere, and you can go to him and you tell him as a Nigerian agri player that, listen, you need 10 tons of whatever raw material. That in country we have clearly identifiable people that can supply 8% of this or 20% of this.
Also considering the market.
Yes, you domesticate it so that this guy doesn't import. You create jobs along this value chain because you are domesticating supplies to the manufacturer. The manufacturing guy, once he can have efficient inflow of raw material from primary producers in a determined that he can really project that he is sure in the right quality, right time, and right volume, he will not import from anywhere. Then this creates job. Then this guy also reduces the cost of his manufacturing, because then he can also make case for what type of infrastructure that the manufacturers need. Is it power that is the big elephant in the room? Is it road, or is it access to credit for him to be able to offtake? Then this guy cuts down the cost of what comes out from his factory. This benefits the third block in this chain, which is the consumer or the market. So we will be able to say that what is coming out from our factories is actually affordable, that the cost of food prices is coming down, and quality guaranteed locally sourced food is coming down, and we can therefore evidence-based systematically substitute.
You've agreed with me that a lot is being done in this light. What you say now, when are we looking forward to see this upscale?
No. I think government is already on that right track, and we have no option. We just have
specifics. Can you give us specific directions?
Let me even tell you that right now the Federal Ministry of Agriculture has been working extensively with the Brazilians to introduce certain kind of technology to create some service centers that can really up the primary productivity of the smallholder farmer, bring in the entrepreneurs to manage these centers, also add value in terms of processing, and we hope in another 3 years that these centers will be sending out products to the market that is more qualitative and cheaper than what we are producing locally from imported raw material.
How good are we doing in area of dry season farming, making use of technology, talking about irrigation, the drip irrigation technology, and all of that?
I agree with you.
These small scale farmers.
I agree with you that there is need for irrigation and all of that. That again is the issue of putting another block before the other. So if we want to discuss the technology of irrigation, you also need to know who are you targeting? What is the efficiency of the smallholder farmers that today are doing the rain-fed? And by the time you introduce the technology of irrigation, what is the cost analysis that has been done to producing what they will produce, and how efficiently will it now turn out to support the value addition and the food availability? So that technology is right. Yes.
What you're trying to tell us now is that food sufficiency is no longer a dream for the Nigerian farmer and for all Nigerians, but it is a reality in a very short while. If we follow some of these processes you have outlined, putting one block on the other at the right time to get the right results.
Food security is an easier target to get. Food self-sufficiency is another ball game.
It's a long-term
plan. But I think Nigeria can be food secured with the combination of enhancing evidence-based enhancement of our local productivity and setting targets and increasing the yields systematically.
Well,
and over time, we can get
there will be some other time for us to get to talk. There are a lot of issues around agriculture and unlocking this potential. It's been a pleasure having you on the program, sir. We've been talking with the Special Senior Assistant to the President on Agriculture in person of Andrew Kwasari. It's a pleasure, sir.
Thank you, my brother. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Sterling shines on Brexit hopes, yen eases on trade optimism. Let's now see how the Naira is exchanging for other international currencies. Stocks in Asia gained Friday amid positive developments on the US-China trade front. Bosede Ebel takes it up from here.
Stocks around the globe opened mostly positive Friday, the 11th of October, over the development on the US-China trade. This came after US President Donald Trump said in a tweet Thursday that he is set to meet with Chinese Vice Premier Liu He on Friday, raising expectations that progress could be made on the trade front by the two economic giants. Stocks in Asia were higher. Shanghai Composite up 0.88%, Hang Seng Index 2.34% as of its final hour of trading, and Nikkei also rose 1.15% on the day to 21,798.87. US stock futures were solidly higher. Dow futures indicated a positive open of nearly 300 points. Futures on the S&P and Nasdaq Composite were both higher. European stocks traded higher. DAX topped 1.76%, CAC 1.13%, while FTSE was negative. Most African stocks also traded higher.
Gold prices fell from one-week high on Friday after Chinese state media reports suggested that China wants to reach an agreement with the United States to avoid an escalation in the protracted trade war, certain investor concerns. Stock exchange. The bearish trend continued on the Nigerian Stock Exchange as the last trading day in the second week of October closed on a negative note. The all share index depreciated by 0.19% to 26,533.78 basis points and market cap at 12.9 million naira. 117.3 million shares worth 1.5 billion naira in 2,122 deals exchanged hands at the end of the session. FCMB was the most sought after stock, while FBN Holdings topped the gainers chart, while Nigerian Breweries led the decliners. That brings us to the end of this edition of Business Express. You can access all previous episodes on YouTube, and you can also communicate with us on Twitter, and the handle is @NTA News Now. The hashtag is #BizExpress. We value your feedback to keep the mails coming on the program. Join us next week, Monday, for another episode of Business Express. I am Benny Adams saying, do have a fulfilling weekend and keep thinking and doing business.